Lil Durk is currently one of the most influential and successful rappers in the world, but his journey to stardom didn't happen by chance or overnight. The road he traveled was far from easy, and his rise to fame was anything but smooth. Hailing from Chicago, he faced immense challenges, and many even argue that Durk played a significant role in escalating the violence that shook his city. He spent over a decade working tirelessly to reach the mainstream, and today, we're diving deep into his incredible story, from being a street savage to collaborating with global superstars like Drake and Kanye West. Let's take a closer look at how Durk made this transformation happen. Born and raised on the south side of Chicago, specifically in Englewood, Durk's childhood was anything but typical. For many kids in Chicago, growing up without their father is unfortunately the norm, but Durk's situation was even more extreme. When he was just 7 months old, his father, known as Big Durk, was sentenced to life in prison for allegedly running a major crack cocaine operation. Big Durk was well-connected, locked in with Larry Hoover, the infamous founder of the Gangster Disciples, a gang that was established in 1965. Big Durk was deeply entrenched in the streets, managing a large operation, with many people working under him. During this time, he was even on good terms with the Black Disciples, BDs. But this peace didn't last forever. The long-standing conflict between the BDs and GDs escalated over the years into an all-out war, but it wasn't always this way. According to Big Durk, the tension between these two rival groups began when certain BD leaders felt they deserved a larger slice of the pie in terms of territory. At the time, Big Durk was running things in his neighborhood, and everything seemed to be under control. However, everything came crashing down when his cousin, Tosha Woods, turned on him and testified against him. This betrayal led to Big Durk and 3 of his closest associates receiving life sentences. A police raid on Big Durk's storage unit revealed a stash of $1 million in cash and 10 bricks of cocaine. Even though Lil Durk's father was locked up for most of his life, the bond between them remained strong, and they maintained regular communication over the phone. Big Durk always wanted something different for his kids. He didn't want them to follow in his criminal footsteps. Despite his efforts, however, growing up in a place like Chicago made it difficult for Durk to avoid the streets. Durk's mother played a critical role in raising him and his siblings. Despite their tough circumstances, she kept the family together, even when money was scarce. Durk recalls times when there was no food to eat, a constant reminder of just how tough things were. As a result, Durk realized that if he wanted to help his family, he needed to step up and make a move. At just 10 years old, he began hustling in the streets to support them. First, Durk thought basketball might be his ticket out, but he soon realized that wasn't going to be enough. He shifted his focus to music and began releasing tracks in 2010, while simultaneously forming his OTF, Only the Family, crew. However, it wasn't until he faced a gun charge in 2011 that he truly decided to take his music career seriously. Durk was sentenced to 3 months in jail for the gun case, but after being released on bond, he found himself back behind bars for an additional 87 days. During this time, Durk's first child was born, and it was in this period of reflection that he realized he needed to change his ways. Growing up without a father had a profound impact on Durk, and he was determined that his own son would not face the same struggles. This realization became a pivotal moment in his life. He understood that he needed to shift his priorities and change the course of his future, not only for his own sake but for the sake of his family as well. In an emotional interview, Durk shared, "What really broke it down was I had my son while I was locked up, so that really affected me. That really put the toll on me, like, oh yeah, I gotta change." When he was released from prison, Durk found himself at a crossroads. He could either double down on music or sink deeper into the street life. At the time, he was a broke high school dropout living with his mom, struggling to get by, and dealing with the responsibility of being a new father. Durk described his situation as not eating, getting locked up, no focus, no guidance. Despite the hardships, Durk chose to pursue his music career instead of going down the same destructive path his father and many others from his neighborhood had walked. He immersed himself in his music, dropping tracks like Sneak Dissin' and I'm a Hitta, which started to gain some traction within the city. That's when Durk realized he might have a real shot at making it in the music industry. Using MySpace to build a following, Durk released his debut mixtape in 2011 and followed it up with 2 more projects. But it wasn't until December 2012, when he dropped L's Anthem, that everything changed. By this point, tensions between the GDs and BDs were already at a boiling point, and L's Anthem added fuel to the fire. The track's aggressive lines, such as, "You don't F*** with me," then F asterisk asterisk asterisk, M slash my own N asterisk 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 S, I don't trust M, escalated the already violent feud. In response, Lil Jojo from Brick Squad fired back with the track 300K, BDK, aimed directly at Durk and the BDs. The track included threats to Durk's life, and it wasn't long before tragedy struck. Lil Jojo was murdered shortly after the song's release, intensifying the war between the BDs and GDs and sending the streets into even further chaos. While the track may have contributed to more lives being lost, it also played a key role in Durk's rise to prominence in the rap scene. Durk followed L's anthem with the hit "Dis Ain't What You Want," which propelled him into the spotlight. This success led to a major record deal with Def Jam Records in 2013, his biggest career achievement up until that point. However, just days after signing with Def Jam, Durk was hit with another legal issue. He was arrested on a weapon charge after allegedly tossing a gun into his car during a police stop in Chicago. He was charged with unlawful use of a weapon by a felon and held on a $100,000 bond. At this point, Chief Keef, a fellow Chicago rapper and Durk's former friend, had already gained significant fame after his breakout hit, Don't Like, and his collaboration with Kanye West. Many people assumed Keef would step in to help bail Durk out, but surprisingly, Keef didn't pay the bond, which caused a rift between the two. The fallout from this left Durk to focus on his own career, though it was a tough blow. Durk was released just a month later and wasted no time getting back to work, dropping his mixtape Signed to the Streets in October 2013. 2014 proved to be another breakthrough year for him. He was named to the XXL freshman class, released Signed to the Streets 2, and became embroiled in a highly publicized feud with Tyga and The Game. The beef started when Tyga took shots at Durk on social media, which led to a diss track titled Chirac to LA featuring Game. Game's verse mocked Durk, claiming not to know who he was and belittling him as an up-and-coming rapper. Despite Game's legendary status, Durk wasn't intimidated. In fact, Durk confronted Game at a club in LA, and the tension between the two nearly escalated into a physical confrontation. Though things didn't turn violent, both rappers continued to throw jabs at each other in interviews and on social media. Eventually, Game tweeted that the situation had been resolved, but the rivalry never truly died down. By 2015, Durk's efforts in the rap game were truly paying off, and his fanbase was growing rapidly. The anticipation for his debut studio album Remember My Name was immense, and it was poised to be the project that would establish him as a mainstream figure in hip-hop. The excitement around Durk was at an all-time high, and after years of hard work and dedication, it seemed like he was on the verge of something major. The album was originally set to drop on May 12th, but the release was pushed back to June 2nd. When it finally hit shelves, it debuted at number 14 on the Billboard 200 chart. While it wasn't as high as many fans expected, Durk didn't let the numbers discourage him. He kept his head down and continued grinding, dropping more music just a few months later. In 2016, Durk released his second album under Def Jam, but it only peaked at number 29 on the Billboard 200. While the album wasn't a complete failure, it was clear that Durk wasn't getting the recognition he deserved. But that wasn't the only challenge he faced. During this period, OTF suffered a blow when Tay 600 was accused of cooperating with the police in the murder trials of Rondo No. 9, C-Die, and Dros 600. Tay denied the accusations, but regardless, he was removed from OTF and began beefing with Durk. Although this drama caused a stir in the streets, Durk had already gained enough momentum that it didn't have a significant impact on his career. In 2017, Durk proved he was far from done. He released 4 projects that year, including 2 collaborative tapes with Lil Reese and T. Grizzly. Durk was clearly hungry for success and wasn't going to let anything hold him back. By 2018, he was reaching new heights. He released his 12th mixtape and made the bold decision to leave Def Jam Records, signaling his desire to have more control over his career. That same year, he began putting more focus on his OTF label, which saw even more success when King Von joined the crew. Von quickly gained traction in the rap scene with his hit, Crazy Story, and the duo of Durk and Von became a powerful force in hip-hop. The OTF movement was gaining momentum, and both Durk and Von were achieving incredible success, dominating the industry with their releases. 2019 was an explosive year for Durk and Von, but it was in 2020 that Durk finally broke into the mainstream in a big way. His 5th studio album reached number 2 on the Billboard 200 chart, and he solidified his place in the rap world with a feature on Drake's massive hit, Laugh Now, Cry Later. Durk's feature on the track was a game changer, propelling him to a level of visibility he had long deserved. However, Just as Durk was hitting his stride, tragedy struck. In late 2020, King Von, who had become a brother to Durk, was tragically shot and killed. Von's death rocked Durk to his core, and it served as another painful reminder of the violence that had plagued his life for so many years. Durk had already lost several close friends and family members to violence. In 2013, his friend L.A. Capone was murdered outside a studio, and in 2014, his cousin OTF Nusky was also killed. The following year, his manager Chino Dalla was tragically murdered after leaving a meeting about anti-violence initiatives. The loss of Von hit Durk especially hard. Von and Durk had become incredibly close over the years, and the pain of losing him was a deep, personal blow. Yet despite all the heartbreak and loss, Durk continued to use his pain as fuel for his music, honoring the memory of those he had lost by pouring his emotions into his art.